The Nun II was released in 2023. This is directed by Michael Chase, written by Ian Goldberg, Richard Ning, and Akela Cooper. And we have a cast including Taissa Farmiga and Jonas Bloquet and Storm Reid. And this one is obviously part of the Conjuring universe. It takes place a few years after the first Nun film. And the story, I'd say, is not as strong as it is in the first film, but it still works well. I don't want to go into too much detail, but we also have the return of the character of Irene, and she is now looking into some other things that begin to happen, focusing on the same demon as the previous film, and we dig a little bit more into the demon and learning more about the demon and the origins of this character. And again, I don't want to spoil it too much by saying exactly what happens, but it works really well as a concept. And this one takes place in France, which gives it something a little bit different, and different from the first film, that is. And I think it works really well. We have some really great settings. We meet some great characters. I think the boarding school setting works really, really well. We have some great new characters. Irene is a character I really like, so it's nice to follow her journey there, or continue to follow her journey. And with regards to the horror aspect, I enjoyed the narrative. Positives where it's due. The horror aspect was quite lacking. It's not that there's absolutely no horror in this, but I'd say it's more atmospheric than scary. There are definitely some scenes that feel quite tense and unpredictable, and that works well, but I was never really scared. And I feel like that's a bit of a disappointment, but because the narrative itself was still quite interesting, the characters are interesting, the character of the demon I really liked. I liked learning more about that. So there were enough elements that I didn't mind that it wasn't that scary, but obviously I would have liked it to have been a little scarier. With the first film, I remembered it being very scary, and then I rewatched it, and it wasn't as scary as I remembered. So I wasn't expecting this to be terrifying, but I also had high hopes. It didn't deliver on that front, but to be honest, it delivered in every other way, and I'm happy to recommend it if you liked the first Nun film. If you didn't like the first one, I'd say you're probably not going to like this, unless the reason you didn't like the first film is that it was a bit too scary. I know not everybody loves really scary films, but they still like a little bit of suspense and a little bit of unpredictability, not knowing what's around the next corner. That can be quite scary in itself. So it could deliver if that's the case, but otherwise I'd say probably not worth watching if you didn't like the first film. But if you liked the first Nun, I think you'll enjoy this one well enough. It's not quite as good, but it still ticks enough boxes. It's not as scary as I would have liked, but the story is good, the characters are good, the setting works well, and we do have a nice atmosphere, even if it's not that scary. So all things considered, I'd say The Nun II is a decent film, and I'm happy to recommend it.